within 1 year. What does that tell you? It tells you that detention exists. But I think we should be looking at how it's being managed. I think the management is very important, and that's why we're having this dialogue. You know, it's not to take sides with government or to be against government or the civil society. A point has been raised that dialogue is critical, and I think that's why we're here. We are here for nation building, not to point accusing fingers. And as he did say that we should give kudos to the sitting minister, but sir, you can do more. You need to do a lot more. The collaboration is important, and I think we should take our dialogue beyond the doorstep of the executive. If you look at international best practices, post-apartheid South Africa, for instance, hate speech, there are issues around what the Constitution says, and the judiciary weighs in most times to do the balancing act. So this collaboration is important. We shouldn't just engage the executive arm. We also have to engage the legislative arm. We did talk about the fact that Section 22 is not justiciable. Should we call for amendment? How do we go about it? If truly we're interested in deepening democracy, because that's why we're here. We're not here to take sides. We're here to deal with the issue. So that collaboration is very important so that we can have better understanding. You know, there should be cooperation because we're all into nation building. If the press is not there, how do we deepen democracy? And if we don't have democracy, you know, practicing as journalists could also be difficult. So we need to look in that direction. So, and cases should be treated on case-by-case basis. As Mr. Adio said, the fact that we have a constitutional responsibility to bring people to account does not mean that we should be irresponsible. And so cases must be treated on its own merit, but there must be a balancing act because people can err, and the truth is the government is not right at all times. And government should take what we bring to the table as journalists as credible intelligence, feedback, and you have free access to the pulse of the people based on the kind of reports that we give. We're all into nation building. So collaboration is the way to go. Because if we are the fourth estate of the realm, we should not be treated, you know, as people who don't have a stake in the Nigerian state. That's my submission.
Thank you, Professor Ogwezi. Collaboration. And I think maybe another institution that I would just say we should have to, those who should be consulted will be the security agencies. Yes. So, Mr. Waziri, I think, so that would be a wrap for us. I want you to take us through what you think should be the structural or systematic reform that we should adopt from this rising on how we can strengthen media freedom and protect the civic space.
Okay, thank you very much. The first thing I think we need to do is whether a government or, you know, people who are in government, you know, take advantage of an existing law or not. As long as that law is there, it can be used by anybody, including by private citizens. Like the example that Mr. Shehu alluded to, but you know, this is not the forum to discuss it because it's a case in court. So things around cyber crimes, around criminalization of libel, there are threats not just to journalists, but to all of us, right? And even if you are in government today, I used to be in government too, you'll be in government tomorrow. If you are in the ruling party today, you might be in the opposition tomorrow. So if there are things that can be used against any citizen, I think what we should do, especially as journalists, we shouldn't just be saying that some of these laws should be amended just because they limit the freedom of the journalist. Let's see how we can build a coalition around this so that people are not saying, oh, these irritant journalists, they want extra protection. No, let people see that these laws present danger to everyone. And you don't know where you end up tomorrow. There's this philosopher, John Rawls, that talked about this veil of ignorance. That, you know, if you assume the position of the most vulnerable and you don't know where you're going to end up, right, make provision to protect that person. So that is the first thing I think we should do as a society. But the press, because we are affected, because we also have the platform to build this kind of coalition, we should see it as an all of society thing. Cyber crimes, you know, that you can just say somebody annoys somebody, you know, and all of those things. and they can go to jail, and libel can become criminal offense and all of that, so that's the first thing. The second thing is that as a profession, I think it's very important for us to also keep our own corner tidy. Professor Redia mentioned about laziness, about corruption, about unprofessionalism and all of that. We cannot give what we don't have. If we want people to respect us, we have to respect ourselves. And part of that is that we have to be able to call out bad behavior. Not say, because esprit de corps.
Hold ourselves accountable.
Yes, if people are doing bad things, please say that this is not journalism. Including, there's a tendency I've noticed now. People talk about legacy media and they talk about social media. Because the social media thing is, that is where everybody is now. Rather than the legacy media to continue to distinguish itself, what we actually want to be like. So you see this tendency of breaking news, something that you have not verified. All the norms of legacy media, of fact-checking. And fact-checking, by the way, is not just fact-checking what somebody has said. It's also fact-checking what you are reporting. We're not doing the due diligence. We're behaving like the people that will say, these people, they don't have the institutional checks and all of those things in place. So we need to sort out that. We need to build capacity to see how we can build capacity to do our job better, including to protect ourselves. And lastly, we need to ensure that we provide redress to people, right? I like this issue around ombudsman, right? That, because the frustration that people have, and that's why they are resorting to all this cybercrime and all of this is that they know that, they can't get redress. You go to court, this thing will be tied up in court forever. And you, the one that is suing, will now even be the one on the spot. So if we as a professional body, we show that, when we have the institutional mechanisms, for addressing grievances, and there's a life instance, right?
Okay.
It will give confidence to people to know that, these people can call themselves to order. And it's not just having that the overall ombudsman for the profession. Each media house
Needs
should
an
have his own
ombudsman of its
ombudsman.
own.
Somebody that should every day review what the newspaper has, or the media organization has put out.
Or just listen to the grievance of the public.
And call people to that. Last. We do this stuff about constitutional amendments every 4 years. Yeah. Right? So if there are issues around freedom, including the one that Professor Heredia mentioned, has there been any time when we put this up as one of the issues that, have to be taken up for constitutional amendment? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. If you could please give this panel a round of applause. I think they've done justice to all the question. One thing that rings from what Malam Kabir said is that, yes, the media has to be responsible, but more importantly is that the media bears the banner of freedom, not just for itself, but for all of us. And I think that is a very, very important responsibility that the media must take seriously. And for that reason also retain responsibility. So I thank you, Professor Ogwezi. Thank you, Mr. Garba Shehu. And thank you, Mr. Waziri Adio. And thank you, IPI, for inviting us to have this conversation.
And thank you too. Busola Jibola, thank you. Members of the panel, we are indeed honored. Thank you. Would have, thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we'll continue in a moment, but we should take a break so that we stretch our legs a bit, and then what we call here health and tea break. We'll see whether we can do it in about 10 minutes or thereabouts. We can take our snacks, cup of coffee, cup of tea, come back to our seats, so that in 10, 15 minutes we should be done. And then we'll come on to the second presentation, which will be done by the Director General of the Department of State Services. He's been on standby. His team is on ground already. And then when we come back, we'll get that done. So tea break, health break. What do you say? Okay, so I'm told that we should have a photo session. I think backgrounding this place. So, Honorable Minister, sir, Professor Tony Ray there, please.